Good morning. You know how easy it is to get out of bed every morning with a spring in your step when you work with 16,000 people that you just saw in that video? We have a tremendous team around the world, and it's really energizing and quite a privilege to have the role I play in GF. The other thing I want to do is I also, too, want to welcome everybody here today. As professionals, the most important commodity we have is our time. We constantly have to prioritize what makes sense. It's not lost on us, and we're very appreciative you've decided to prioritize your time with us today. And we hope to make the best use of that as you get a better insight into our company. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about the future of innovation through the eyes of GF. But I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a little bit moment to give a little preamble setting that up. I promise I will get to the future of innovation. So let's have a little fun with the world by the numbers, the industry by the numbers. 85 trillion. Anybody know what that is? That's the world economy. $2 trillion. You know what that is? That's the electronics industry. I argue the whole world economy is predicated on a healthy and strong electronics industry. $475 billion. Semiconductor market. Right? The whole electronics industry is dependent on the semiconductor market to create their differentiated features and products. And then, of course, there's the $63 billion, the tip of the arrow. It's the semiconductor manufacturing foundry, SAM, $63 billion. Let me show you one number, 5. 5 is the last remaining pure-play foundry manufacturers in the industry of any significance. I know I probably just insulted some of my smaller competitors, but it is our show. And there we are. And let me tell you what it looks like. It's an inverted pyramid. This is our industry. I argue an $85 trillion world economy is supported and built on 5 companies manufacturing semiconductors for an array of products of electronics and semiconductor companies. And that's the role of GF as one of those 5. Now, 3 of those 5 are greater China. And given the geopolitical world we live in, getting a little less greater and more just China. And we see GF having a very important role in this industry, and we take it with great responsibility. With opportunity comes responsibility. And we want to bring you through today is what we see our view and our role in this industry. As Juan said, this is probably the most significant number today, 10. It's our 10th year anniversary. This meeting, in many ways, is a celebration of 10 years of partnership. This industry is too complex. We went from IDMs to a fragmented, everybody plays their lane. The EDA companies, equipment companies, the manufacturers, the design companies. But in many ways, we get this all done because of deep and important partnerships. So thank you for your partnership. It's 10 and counting, and I believe as we go forward, we'll be celebrating more victories together. So let's talk about GF and who we are. I think during our journey for the first 10 years, we found a couple of different paths we were interested, but I think it's pretty clear now who we want to be. We are, and will continue to be, the leading specialty foundry providing differentiated solutions. The more we can differentiate our solution for our customers, the more our customers will be successful in the marketplace. That's who we are. And what do? We're a manufacturing services company. We help our customers create winning products. We don't make products. We bring feature-rich solutions to them for their markets they serve. We'll never get lost on who we are. We're a manufacturing services company. A year ago, I was here. It was fresh off what we called a pivot. We had to comprehend the realities of the industry and the realities of our scale. At the time, we said the industry doesn't need a third sub-single-digit nanometer Moore's Law company. And the scale, for us, was a big barrier. Our competitors who play in that space spend over $13 billion a year between CapEx and R&D, and we're a $6 billion company. So the realities of our scale, the realities of really the need in the industry, actually, quite honestly, it was easy to make the pivot, to become relevant in this industry. So it wasn't so much what we weren't going to do anymore. I always make the the joke that it's easy to know what you're not going to do. You wake up at the crack of noon every day, you look around, is anybody doing any of that work? And if they're not, you're done. It was more important for us to find our rightful place in this industry. How do we create value, and how do we become relevant? And this pivot was our pivot to relevance. But a pivot was a point in time, and since that day of announcing our pivot, we as a company have been working our transformation. And you've seen both external transformation, transactions we've done as part of our transformation, a lot of work internally, organizationally, a lot of work of eliminating waste, a lot of work, where do we spend our R&D dollars to be more relevant to our new mission? And so over the last year, we've been on a journey as a transformation as a company. Let me tell you where that transformation has landed us, and we will continue to build and focus. We want to be specialized. When we made this pivot away from sub-single-digit leading-edge technology, what were we giving up? We were essentially conceding what we believe to be only 25% of the market. Moore's Law scaling is still very relevant in this industry. It just has a smaller niche where it's applicable. Monolithic designs, right, have been important for CPUs and GPUs and modems. But system integration, system on chip, doesn't need leading edge to make winning and award-winning products. So we decided to concede 25% of the market so we can be big winners in 75% of the market, which is that $47 billion, which is 75% of that $63 billion I showed in the ecosystem before. What we're doing now at the company, the next part of our transformation is we're transforming how we're going to market. In fact, today some of our press releases are about this new organization, and some of the titles in the presentations today of the presenters have changed as of yesterday, because we're going from, while we're a technology company, and it's very important at the heart of what we do, we're technology. Just because you're a technology company doesn't mean you need to lead in your go-to-market strategy with your technology. We want to start leading by going after the market segments that matter. So now we're focused, how do we go win in that $47 billion opportunity as a company? If you look at IGS, if you look at Gartner, they have about 26 categories of market segments. You know, as a $6 billion company, having 26 business units was a little unwieldy. So we decided to put natural ordering of these market segments where there's a lot of synergy. So the first market segment we've organized around is automotive, industrial, and multi-market. In fact, we gave a press release today that a gentleman by the name of Mike Hogan has joined us from Cyprus to lead that strategic business unit. Compute and wired infrastructure. It's a business unit that is the heart of the cloud computing and wired connectivity and networking for our world. And then the third is mobile and wireless infrastructure, and you'll see Bami will be up later today to talk about all of these business units, but he's also the leader of that business unit. So we've decided to change how we go to market from technology focus to becoming in-depth experts on market segments, applications, device groups, specific devices. We cannot make feature-rich solutions for you, our customers, if we're not experts in what you need to be successful. Here's a great example. Automotive segment. Application, ADAS. Device group, sensing. Specific device, radar. So if we decide we want to be the best provider of radar solutions to our customers, we know what we have to do. We're going to work in that device group in close proximity to our customers. So how do we grow together? I had to find some way to tell you this story because I think it's important that when you hear about the headlines of what we've done, it's put in the right context. So the question to me is, Tom, how do we grow if you've taken your manufacturing footprint over the last year and reduced by 2 manufacturing facilities? The overarching message for those 2 divestitures with those fabs, while great legacy fabs for us, no longer fit in our new mission because they were subscale in brick and mortar space for what we do. As a specialty foundry, we have process-intensive offerings, high mass counts. And those facilities, while in their day were very important for what we did, were too subscale from a brick and mortar perspective. And so we transitioned them to companies whose product mix are more suited. on semi for our Fab 10 facility in East Fishkill, New York, and Fab 3E, a small 200mm facility in Singapore. And we've consolidated now around our manufacturing assets that have global competitiveness. Okay, Tom, that's a great story. You did divest 2 things, and now you've made your footprint more efficient, but how do we grow together? So it's not so much what's announced and what we did, it's what we left behind. And so the headline says, GF divests another foundry. The fact of the matter is, without putting a shovel in the ground, we can grow our output to grow your business 1.4x. And here's how. If you look at our fabs today, they're fully facilitized, but they're not fully deployed with tool capacity. And if we fill our footprint to its max, all that orange space becomes our opportunity to enhance our business and your business as we grow together. 1.4x growth. So what does it mean? We have capacity to do roughly 2.3 million 300mm equivalent wafers. We could take that to 3 million as you grow your business. And we'll grow with you. We'll take our revenue from 6 billion to 8 billion. We create the financials that come along with that to allow us to make our next investments to continue to grow with you. So where do we want to grow? I don't know. How about everywhere you want to grow? We'll grow with you. The world is our opportunity. We'll pick the right attractive market segments. We'll figure out the features we want together. We'll differentiate with specialty solutions for you. Okay, the future of innovation. I thank you for indulging my preamble about GF and where we're heading in our transformation, including today's announcement about transforming how we go to market. Let's talk about Moore's Law. You know, when we announced the pivot, it was almost, I couldn't tell you how many calls I got from friends in the industry where they were all starting to say, man, are you guys the canary in the mine here? Is this game over sooner or later? And the problem I had with that is we do this to ourselves as an industry. One, we don't do a very good job of marketing ourselves, so no one even knows who we are, right? What's a semiconductor? Everybody knows an iPhone, but no one knows a semiconductor. The second thing we do is we get too narrow. We get lost and we say, well, Moore's Law, it's just scaling. It's just, we go from node to node to node. But for how many generations of technology, the first wave was digital scale products, but the next waves were the innovation around platform. And I'd argue more dollars have been spent in R&D making platforms on nodes than they were making the nodes themselves. And what did platforms enable? It enabled system on chip. It enabled a different version of a dimension of Moore's Law where you sweep function across a whole circuit board into one chip. So what's the future of innovation? Scaling will be continuing. Yes, it's more challenged. It's taking more time. It's harder and harder to find a way to make the power, performance, area, and cost work. But it's becoming more and more limited in the market segments it can participate in. Platform innovation will continue, and maybe the only difference is the dollars being spent in R&D will shift a little bit more to platform innovation. Maybe the focus will be more and more on platform innovation. It's still, in my world, Moore's Law. It's always been there and will always continue. So with that said, of course, as engineers, we have to put an equation. So this is our equation. We call it the innovation equation. You take a series of platforms, nodes, if you will, 32 nanometer, 45 nanometer, 65 nanometer. You add a number of application features. Now, those application features could be done many different ways depending on what node or platform you're working on. But application features, and then, of course, through our ecosystem and partners, we add the right IP, and when those things come together, we generate this application-specific solution for a market segment application and a device to help our customers win in the marketplace. So what does that look like when filling the numbers? Well, for GF, that's 15 platforms, 14 application feature groups, high voltage, RF, embedded memory, and thousands of IP titles. And when all said and done, tens of thousands of specialized application solutions for us to bring to the market to you and for you to bring it to your customers. Let me give you some examples. We take our 12 nanometer FinFET technology, we add a feature of a low voltage SRAM bit cell and 2DD interposer with an AI reference package. Now, here's the thing about AI at the edge. We believe continually go down chasing the single-digit nodes to do AI at the edge is diminishing returns. You take an inefficient architecture and you just run it faster. Is not the end game. What you need to do is take a different architecture, and that architecture is using memory as an accelerator. Embed memory, high performance, low power SRAM cells close to processor cells, and you create a whole different dynamic. We believe the optimization point from a platform perspective is 12 nanometer. If you go another node down or smaller features, you lose the power performance curve. And if you go on the other side and you go to a less aggressive node, you lose the cost point. Now, we've done this in concert with our ecosystem, and we've also come with an AI IP reference platform. So for customers who are first time getting familiar with this architecture, we help them design in that space. Here's another example, our 45 nanometer platform. We put a power amplifier FET on it that's special and unique. We put a high performance switch embedded with an LNA, and we put 1 volt digital on it. What does it do? The power amplifier says you could be further away. By the way, this is for 5G millimeter wave, so 27 gigahertz and higher. It allows your handset to be further from a cell tower and still get good connectivity. The better performance switch in LNA, less drop calls, and the 1 volt digital allows you to extend battery life. So that's great. As you think of marketing, needs, benefits, features, proofs. I just gave you the 3, right? Now, what's the bottom? What's the proofs? Press release we went out today, $1 billion of design wins, 45 RFSOI for millimeter wave. This is going to be one of the key enablers, not only in the handset, but in the infrastructure for enabling 5G millimeter. And we have some of our partners and customers who are participating in those designs with us in the audience today. And here, I promised last one, because I could do this all day, 22FDX. This is our low-power platform. We embed RF with millimeter capability, 77 gigahertz capability. We added to our auto-grade manufacturing capability that we've trademarked as AutoPro, and all of a sudden we have the best-in-class next-generation radar sensing for ADAS applications. Again, another press release today went out on that technology offering. So let me complete my presentation with who we are. We are your manufacturing services company. We will be highly specialized and differentiated so that you can be highly specialized and differentiated. We want to be everywhere because that's where you want to be. We'll concede 25% of the leading edge or scaling edge of this industry, and we'll innovate on everything else. And together we'll win. And to our partners out there and our ecosystem partners, we're going to do this together. We have 10 years of partnership that's created the GF we are today, and the win-win benefit of our partnering together. We're here for you, you're here for us, and together we'll serve our clients.